Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We're going to have a really brief introduction for the facilitators, and then we're going to give you an orientation and explain why we're all standing up and not sitting down. Okay?
All right, everyone. So looks like we'll just be standing like this for the next
10 minutes.
No, I'm just kidding. Thank you all for joining this session. This session is being put on by the Wilmette Institute. There'll be an opportunity for all of us who are attending this presentation to explore one of the graduate level courses of the Wilmette Institute. And so we'll be walking through, there are lots of different activities, but really an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about this course put on by the Wilmette Institute. So at the end, there'll be about 15 minutes for Q&A, but overall, it'll be an interactive session and lots of opportunities to engage. I wanted to quickly introduce our two presenters. We have Imasumak Marañón Davis, who shares ancestry from the Quechua of Bolivia and early pilgrims of New England. She previously worked as a bilingual educator and administrator and is a doctoral candidate for education.
Now student. Just freshly minted.
Updated. We need to update it here, but now Dr. Imasumak Marañón Davis, and also serves as a course designer at the Wilmette Institute. So thank you, Ima. And then we have Justin Scogan. So Justin serves as the Chief Academic Officer at the Wilmette Institute, and has, I think, been in various educational spaces across the world, including Ecuador and I know El Salvador, and we've talked about so many places, Colombia. He has his PhD in education as well from the University of Idaho. And like I said, now works at the Wilmette Institute as the Chief Academic Officer. So let's see what they say.
Thank you for coming, everybody. We're really excited that you chose this session. We are excited to present something that we hope will be very exciting for you. This is we won't stand up and just talk. This will be an immersive experience. What we want you to do is experience one of our courses instead of just knowing about it. And Ima's going to explain exactly how it's all going to work in a second, okay? But first, I just want to give a little bit of background really quickly. We're not going to be here for more than 10 minutes, I promise. On the Wilmette Institute. Many of you may know about the Wilmette Institute. It started way back in the 90s and has kept on going until now. But in 2022, with the guidance of the National Spiritual Assembly, we rewrote our mission statement. Basically, after long sessions of study of Universal House of Justice messages, to understand that our mission from now on is to raise capacity in our students to contribute to the prevalent public discourses of society. That is our contribution to the plan. That's how Wilmette Institute became completely aligned to the plan, and that's our hope anyway. And that's what our aspiration. That's what we're trying to do. And since then, when we decided to do that, we decided to offer, instead of community courses for the general public, we decided to focus our attention more on graduate level courses around the topic of social transformation. So around the topic of social transformation, we offer 4 courses. One of them is about education. One of them is about environmental stewardship. Another one on race unity. And this one is about social change. If people come and take 3 of those 4 courses, we offer a certificate. This is a certificate program that we offer. And we are in the process of becoming an accredited institution as well. Yes. And this will basically allow us to offer our courses at public and private universities as a certificate program. So that we will offer our program to the general public, but we will also offer it in partnership with various universities around the country. And we have already begun doing this at one university, and we're hoping to start this with a couple more in the near future. So that's a general overview of kind of what the Wilmette Institute. There's a lot more to talk about, but I don't want to. I want us to move on. So the last thing I'm going to say is that one of the tenets that we hold most dearly at the Wilmette Institute is that our programs are capacity building. Remember I said that our mission is to build capacity for people to contribute to public discourses. Well, this building capacity right here is one of the tenets that we hold most dearly. And we have found that building capacity means that, of course, we gain an understanding of the public discourses that are around us, and we also gain an understanding of what the Baha'i perspective is on these certain topics. But then the capacity building comes when we go out into our community and we learn what people are doing around these topics, and we are able to listen and understand and then contribute to what they're doing from a Baha'i perspective. And this interaction, this conversation, this dialogical learning, it may sound simple, like, oh, we're going to have conversations with people in our community. I can do that. Yeah, you can do that. And it sounds very simple. But it's actually quite challenging for most people. And but what we have found is that when people have these conversations, their assumptions about how social change happens, or race unity, or education, are very, very challenged. The ideas that we have about how people talk about these certain topics is often not what is really happening in our communities. And even the perspective, what the Baha'i perspective is on these things, is often not what we think it is. And so these interactions with people who are the activists who are doing work in their community has been extremely enriching for most of our students. And that is where the capacity is built. And so we want to simulate that for you today. And Ima's going to explain exactly how we're going to do it.
Hello again, everyone. I'm going to say my name one more time because it's a little different. It's Ima Sumak, but a lot of people call me Ima, so Ima is okay. So I just wanted to say a few things about, like, kind of ground you here in this experience, right? You know, Justin, this beautiful job of kind of expressing this, like, vision of what we're trying to do. And now what we're doing here is actually experiencing it, right? And so you'll see over here that there's this kind of chart with some instructions. You're going to see this at every station. So what we decided is we're going to create 4 immersive stations to simulate what happens in an online course. Now you can imagine that's kind of challenging because it's an online course, right? And we're trying to get you into the experience of what it's like to be in that online course with us. So in one station, for example, in our course, we have weekly Zoom sessions, right? And so we get on Zoom and we have these wonderful conversations and reflections about the resources that week or the experiences that folks have had, right? And so at one of the stations, you're going to have a Zoom session, right? And at this session, you're going to hear one of our participants sharing some insight that they were able to gain. There's 3 ways to listen to this insight. One, we're going to have a speaker playing the voice of this friend. The other is you can have on your phone there's a QR code. You yourself can just grab the audio. If you have headphones, put it on and listen. And then there's also the transcript, right? And so there's 3 ways. What we want you to do after that is just have a conversation, right? Like with a friend next to you. Oh, what did you think of, right? Because that's what we do in our Zoom sessions. We have conversations, right? So there's no writing in that one. And then in the second one, and again, these aren't in order, so we want you to spread out among the 4. So I'm just saying second, third, and fourth just to give them, so you know which ones I'm talking about. There's another one in which we're going to simulate having a forum. A forum is where we practice discourse in an online format. And so it's where you're typing in, right? Well, because you're not typing in a forum, you're going to read something, right? And then you're going to write on a Post-it note your reflections. And there's instructions at every single station. So you'll see kind of what it is that you're supposed to do. There's questions that we ask, right? And then finally, in another station, we have a resource, which is an image that you're going to look at, right? And again, same thing. There's some questions for you to think about, right? In our courses, we try to lean into the twofold moral purpose, right? Remember that powerful way of transformation where we transform at the level of the individual, but also at the level of the collective, right? And so we do that using a Google Doc in our courses, where each individual student creates a Google Doc, shares it with one of the professors, and we get to have reflection together individually about these essential questions, right? Well, we can't do that with all of you here, so instead what we're doing is having you put again on a Post-it note, right, and having somebody else read it and comment, and so that way you can kind of simulate that experience. Finally, I think one of the most powerful elements of our course is to ground it in the community, right? And so it's really taking what you're learning and going out into the community with other friends who are learning about maybe similar things, but they're not taking the course. And you're taking the concepts that you've been learning into that community with those friends that you're collaborating with. Sometimes that's an organization, sometimes it's just one person, right? And you're gonna kind of share with them like, oh, I've been learning about this concept of, for example, oneness of humanity, right? And this is the way we're thinking about it. How are you all thinking about it? Right? And so you begin to have this conversation around these concepts in the community, right? And so we're very, very, very lucky and honored to have there's actually more in the crowd, but three graduates and one on their way to graduating from the certificate program who are going to help us simulate that community. And so these beautiful friends that are here with us today, Eliza, Goldie, Shadu, and Jerry, they're each going to be at a table. And so it's kind of like going to your community, right? You're going to sit there and you're just going to talk with them, and they're going to share about their community efforts, being engaged in social change, and you can ask questions too. And so it's very much what we do. When you're done with that one, you'll see there'll be a kind of a diagram, and just jot some notes down on that diagram. You'll see it has 4 columns. Again, there's instructions after the conversation that you've had, okay? Now, the one thing that we're really trying to do is lean into the framework for action in the Wilmette Institute. And so in an effort to do that, we ourselves also are learning with you. So we lean into it a great deal as course designers, right? And we think deeply about each of the tenets, right? We think about the process of the framework for action. How do you do things in the framework for action, right? And so because we can't spend the time with all of you in really thinking about this, we're doing this in 2 ways. 3 ways. Where there was a video that was sent out. Hopefully some of you got to see it. 2, there's a handout to kind of remind you that this is the lens, right? Because we all come with our own lens to kind of see the world, but we're really trying to also learn how to think through this lens. So just bring this with you. So, oh yeah, okay, right. And then the other is really put the framework out in front of you. Now, this is not all of the framework. We know it's so vast, right? And it's evolving. However, it gives you an idea of kind of how we're thinking about it at the Wilmette Institute. So when you walk in, right, I want you to imagine that you're walking through the framework, and then you're just carrying that with you. Now, it's a large framework. There's a lot. It's very dynamic. So sometimes it's nice to lean into one of the elements. Feel free to do that too. If there's one that really speaks to you, take that with you. So when you go and read a resource, when you go and look at an image, when you go and have a conversation, maybe you're thinking deeply about organic growth, or maybe you're thinking deeply about oneness and justice, right? And so that way it'll help kind of shape the experience.